Hello Internet, hello guys. Each project begins with a selection of wood. Today I would like to process once fresh cherry wood, which I cut only recently in the orchard. The cherry tree had a storm damage a few months ago, so the wood has already lain a bit and at least is somewhat pre-dried. Today I want to follow the natural shape of the workpiece to create an organic shaped bowl. In addition, I will also show a short demonstration working with the classic hand tool. Therefore I will use a Swiss carving chisel, in Germany called Berner Eisen. In the future I will also show the creation of a wooden bowl with only using hand tools, but this is content for one of the next videos.
Please keep in mind this is not a tutorial, it's just a short demonstration. Take care of your security and mind the disclaimer in the video description.
Typically I start with the bottom and work my way in from the outside. This can vary depending on the workpiece, but should be a good starting point. I prepare the bottom with an electric planer. Please note that I have older blades in the plane, so sand or dirt in the bark is not that big of a problem. I would not use the most expensive tools for this job. I use the plane to prepare the bottom and then start with the outside shape. But this is only a rough shape. I take away all the bark. Of course it doesn't have to be, but since the wood is still very clamp, I have to make the walls of the workpiece so thin that it can dry out evenly. I first make a very rough definition of the outer shape here, so that I can better judge the future shape, and then I continue with hollowing out the inside. Modern power tools are very flexible and grant rapid progress, but the same woodworking laws apply as for hand tools. The grain direction and the texture of the wood must be given the same consideration to produce good results. I can also use power tools to take the advantage of the properties of the wood and bring them to bear. For example, I can take into account a knot, fork or intergrown areas in the wood when shaping it. Despite treatment, my workpiece, the wood has slightly cracks on the end grain sides. I'm not sure yet how far these go into the wood and if I can take them out by using an appropriate shape. And now here a short demonstration where I use my Swiss carving chisel. This to show you the comparison between the progress that you can have with power tools in relation to hand tools. And also I want to show the remaining surface quality. Even though the process is more tedious, working with hand tools can have its advantages. For example, I can create shapes with hand tools that are often not possible due to the simple shape or size of power tools. A sharp carving chisel also leaves a very clean surface that does not need or only less sanding. The whole process of carving usually extends to 2 to 3 hours and is cut down to a few minutes here in this video. As you can see, even with a hand tool you can make good progress and the surface quality can be good. But also here you need to have chisels of various sizes if you want to get the most out of it, and this can be quite expensive. In return, you get the freedom to create any shape you can imagine, and that's great. Now let's continue with carving using power tools. Step by step, I create a bowl following the grain structure of the wood. And I carefully check the structure of the wood grain and try to cut the grain in the direction it has been grown. This will give me the best results, and I can also predict the movement of the machine. In case I'm going against the grow direction, I instantly feel the machine wants to move in an unpredictable direction and the wood surface becomes very rough. On the end grain side, I try to remove all the drying cracks by adapting the shape to get rid of the cracks. Now with more progress, the grain pops out very nicely. And I can slowly adjust the shape of the bowl. Hollowing out the inside takes about an hour. You must pay close attention to the position of the tool so that the tool does not eat into the wood or leave burn marks. To prevent this, a smooth flowing movement is necessary. Piece by piece, the shape develops, often an interplay between the inside and the outside of the bowl. Again, I try to follow the grain structure and always keeping in mind how the tool is directing and how it cuts the grain. But with more and more progress, I have to be very careful and keep feeling the wall thickness. Sometimes I also measure it with a gauge, but normally I use just 2 fingers and to figure out how thick the wall is. It is important to know at what point to stop, so don't overdo it here. You can easily ruin your many hours work within a blink of an eye. The last step is sanding, but this wood has to dry a little bit, and also the drying process will show if the wall thickness was thin enough to avoid drying cracks. So this was a short video about power carving and wood shaping. Maybe I have motivated you to create something of your own. I waited a few weeks because the wood was too wet to sand. I slowly dried the wood by putting it in a plastic bag with some holes in it. Now the wood is dry enough to sand. I used a sanding mop to do this, because the mop is following the shape of the shell, otherwise it would be a lot of work to do it by hand. And it would be very time consuming. For the sanding I used a flexible shaft with the drill chuck driven by my drill press. This is a nice setup This is a nice setup for sanding and polishing workpieces. After sanding, starting with 80 grit sandpaper, then going up to 240 grit sandpaper, I used some beeswax. The beeswax needs to be polished into the wood. Polishing heats up the beeswax, makes it liquid, and the wax can then be absorbed by the wood grain. So finally, here is the result. I like it very much, and it turned out exactly how I wanted it to look like. So this was a short video about power carving and wood shaping. Maybe I have motivated you to create something of your own. It would make me happy to hear from you what you created. If you have any questions, just write them in the comment section. I'm happy about your feedback. Did you like the video? Then please leave a like here, and in order not to miss anything in the future, simply subscribe. That's all for now. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye, Friedhelm.